This is going to be a hard video to make because I still feel really bad for this, even though things kind of played out in the end, and I have some people to thank in the middle of this video, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So what you're looking at here is an iPhone SE and an iPhone 6, and we're going to explain why these two are sitting in front of us after we get done with this. So to put things in perspective, I met my fiance in 2012. And 2012 is actually when I lost my job. So to say things have been kind of rough on my end for the last few years is no understatement, because I'm disabled. Trying to get, a traditional job these days is not easy for me. So she's pretty much been there the entire 8 years we've been together, supporting me in every possible way, and I'm just extremely thankful for everything she has done for me. And usually around Valentine's Day, she'll be like, yo, hey, I'll get you a gift for Valentine's Day. Don't worry about me, because I'm better off financially, I'll take care of you, all that wonderful stuff. And this year I thought I would turn the tables a little bit, because I had a little bit of extra money from selling my Quadra 700 to somebody, and I was also getting the stuff to flash mod this, which is already done. These videos are going to be out of order, but whatever. So while I was getting the iFlash, I saw that iDemigods had iPhone SE batteries. So I figured, you know what, throw one in the cart, because my fiance's SE, as we can see here, was not doing so well because the battery was getting down to the 80% line and it was prematurely shutting off. So I figured I'd replace the battery so she could get more life out of this phone. Well, as luck would have it, try to do something nice, it blows up in your face, because what ended up happening was the pull tabs on the battery in this thing are stupid difficult. And I've talked with people who have actually worked on these for a living, and they echo the same sentiment. They're buried down in there. There's a little tab you can pull on to try and get a better grip, but there's a really good chance you'll just tear it anyway, because unlike in the 6 and newer phones, they're not very prominent and easy to grab onto in the 5S and SE. So I snapped the pull tabs as would be predicted, and I had to do the jerry-rig everything pride of shame to get the battery out. And I had to unfortunately get a little bit violent with the battery, but nothing too terribly crazy violent. I didn't have to go Louis Rossman on it, thankfully, but I did end up damaging the battery in the process, not in a way that it made it explode or anything, but just I wouldn't be able to reconnect it to the phone because I wouldn't trust it to provide power anymore. It was pretty bent up and such. So I popped the new battery in, it booted up, battery health was 100%. Cool. I put the screen back up because I took the screen off to get the battery out because I didn't want to break the flex cables, and put everything down, put the brackets down, sealed it up, and my fiance wanted to go to the gym, so I said, go to the gym, use it, just run it all the way down, and we'll recharge it when you get home. And she said, well, my phone has started rebooting, and I figured, that's probably normal as the battery tries to find where its true empty line is. I've had that happen with, the iPods. So I figured it would be normal with this. So it got down to 1% on the battery gauge here, and I decided to plug it in to charge it up, and I let it sit for an hour. And when I went to grab the phone to check on it, it was ice cold in my hands. And that immediately set off alarms in my head, because when you charge a phone, it's going to get some level of warmth. This phone is no exception. Every iPhone does. So when it's ice cold, that tells me something's not right. And sure enough, I power up the phone. It is still sitting at 1% with a charging symbol, but it's not going anywhere. So the too long didn't watch version of this, I'm not going to really go too deep into it, is I let my guard down in a big way after I got the battery out. Because what I did was I was so exasperated at that point that I didn't really think about what I was doing when I was prying the connector up with a spudger, and there are basically two little filter caps down by that connector in there. And if you're not careful, and I'm not sure if they're in the same place on newer phones like the 6, well, newer form factor, I should say, if you're not careful, you can knock those right off the board. And those capacitors, at least the lower two ones on this side, are for the battery sense circuit. So if you knock those off, the phone suddenly has no communication with the battery outside of, the straight power. So the phone is going to reply to that by not charging it and not doing anything with the battery, because it can't communicate charge level, it can't communicate health status, or anything like that. So I initially thought maybe it was just the battery, so I actually ordered a new battery off iFixit, because I know they vet their parts to a higher degree than most, and that didn't fix the problem, and that's when I know I really messed up. So I was up shit creek without a paddle, because I destroyed my fiance's phone. She was not in the mood to really upgrade her phone. I mean, she's had one foot out the door with this phone because T-Mobile, with their new network bands, are kind of leaving that generation of devices behind. But she's not in a financial place right now where she could have really handled an upgrade in stride. So thankfully, my roommate had this guy on hand. This is an iPhone 6 a friend bought for her because her iPhone 6S died a couple years ago before she got her iPhone 10. And what ended up happening is we booted this phone up, got it set up, and found that the battery was at 80% health, which by Apple's definition is a consumed battery. It was already throttling from the low battery percentage, so it was just all around bad. But at least she had a functional phone on iOS 12, which kind of sucked because her watch wouldn't work with it. And I figured, now that I know what went wrong over here, I ordered a battery for this phone, and just as a small quality of life improvement to get her by until we got her a more permanent replacement for the SE. So I was on a Discord call with my good friend Alan, who goes by Tech Fluidity on YouTube, if he's still here, and pretty much what happened was I vented on him about how I felt dumb about what happened here, and how this is possibly happening at the worst possible time financially, because the tax return we got wasn't really that good this year. And just there's a mess of stuff going on right now that really, it just kind of really put things in a downtrodden place for us. And he was like, okay, let me know how much you need to do this, and I will just give you the money to do it. Just pay me back, within a year. Like, don't worry too much about it. And to say I was floored is an understatement, because normally I would have just said, no, it's okay, but this is one of those situations where it's like, I'm not in a place to decline help, and I would, in fact, very much welcome it. So I said, well, the problem is, due to the way our payments are layered with T-Mobile and the way that billing dates are in the month, we're currently past due on our bill, and it's not going to be paid for another couple of weeks. And he was like, okay, let me know how much you need. I'll take care of everything for you. The down payment for a new phone and the bill, all out. And again, I was just like, holy shit. So if he's watching this, again, you saved my life 10 times over. And this isn't the first time he's done this either. So I owe him my life, and I owe Ryan my life, because, Ryan is also done his fair share of saving my ass. So many thanks are due for Alan in this case. So pretty much what my fiance ended up with is an iPhone 11. And the rationale, she was thinking about keeping it within your means thing and getting an iPhone 8 because it's not expensive, monthly payments are pretty low. But she also thought about the rationale here. She had this phone for 4 years. So with this, she figures, okay, you know what? If I buy the best phone right now, because, the iPhone 11 is the best, regular person phone, the Pro is on the same level to some extent from a system specs point of view. If I get the best phone I can get right now, this is going to carry me for at least 4 more years. Kind of like the same rationale I had with my Ryzen 7 system. It's like, if I splash out now, sure, it's going to suck a little bit financially, but I'm also setting my future self up to not have to worry about this for a while. So she got the 11. So far, she's been extremely happy with it. This is not an unboxing video because she has her phone with her, obviously, but yeah, she is currently very happy with the phone, and I know it feels weird going from an SE up to an 11 because, the size difference is just ginormous, but she's one of those people where you can put a phone in front of her and she'll make it work, and when she saw the color, she fell in love with it. So this was a nice thing, and again, Alan did us a solid, and I really, again, thank him. But as Steve Jobs would say, there is just one more thing. Because as we were at the T-Mobile store, I noticed they still had some 10S's on display. And I was like, because I've been thinking about getting one off Swappa for a while now. Because my 10R has been having a couple of little issues. The Taptic engine feels like it's starting to kind of go out, like it rattles whenever it goes off. And the camera has been kind of really buggy as of late. And I don't know if that's software or hardware. I'm leaning more towards software, and I really miss having hardware portrait mode because I take pictures of things other than humans and dogs. So, ironically, the dog barks right as I say that. So, I saw that they had stock, and the price was kind of cut. So, what I did was I said, okay, I'm interested in this, but let's talk numbers before I commit to it because, if the numbers line up perfectly, I'm open to doing this. So we got to talking about numbers, and I said, well, how much is my 10R worth in trade-in? And he gave me a quote of about $300, which is what I was looking at pretty much selling my 10R for if I were to make an upgrade anyway. So what I ended up doing was I traded in the 10R, and for whatever reason, T-Mobile messed things up where you can no longer apply when you're trading in, if you have excess value over, you cannot apply it towards the down payment of that installment plan, which really sucks because that's what I wanted to do. So what ended up happening is my 10R covered the down payment for the 10S, covered the down payment for the 11, and it took a hefty chunk off of next month's bill. So I guess, you know, it's not all bad. They wouldn't let me put it on anything else but the bill, which really sucked for me, but what can you do? I mean, it's alright, I guess. So, yeah. 10S happened. Now, this was a weird move because my 10R was a 128 gig phone. This is a 64 gig phone, and Ryan is already telling me I'm going to regret this. Now, I don't feel like I am, and I would have gotten the 256 version because they did have them, but only online. And the problem was I would have to pay the down payment for a 10S 256 right then and there, and then trade in my 10R, which I didn't have the money for that. So it wouldn't have been able to happen. I had to go on what they had in store at the time, and that really sucked. So I got the 64 gig, and the way I justified it was my music library, I just have it on the 10S, but I have it downsampled to 256 kilobit AAC. But the other reason I justified it is that I can go without my music library on this phone because, you know, I'm carrying this around everywhere now. Because I'm living back in the 2000s where you carried two separate devices for your music and your phone. So that's the way I justified it, and here it is. This is currently a temporary case that I have on it. It is the black one, so I'm going to go ahead and do this and clear my notifications because there are some on here. And I can just say it feels nice to have a smaller phone again. I do like the feel of having a slightly smaller phone because it does make a difference with these extra bezels and such. Plus, I had a Unicorn Beetle case, which those of you who know Sup Case know what I'm talking about. The others who don't think I'm weird, but whatever. So it feels nice, much nicer in the hand. I do like having something that's easily fistable and not in that way. And I like having the camera. The other thing I like about this phone is the design of the camera module, because as you see there's the mic for the noise cancellation. And for whatever reason, on the 10R, it is flush with the back glass. And there is a problem with that because for whatever reason, I don't know how it's happening, if it's like reverberating through the case or something, but my voice would bounce into the mic on the 10R. And the noise cancellation would think my voice is noise that needs to be canceled. So that became very problematic. So 10 I had did not have that issue, and I'm guessing it's because the mic is actually raised off the back a little bit with the camera module. So here's hoping this is fine because I don't make many phone calls, but when I do, that issue is really annoying to deal with. So this is actually meant for a 10, as you can see, it doesn't line up. But so far, I'm actually pretty happy with it. I like where it is. And actually, let's see, I have pretty much my entire working set of stuff on here, and for iPhone storage I am a little over halfway used. So far so good with the storage. I don't anticipate I'm going to be close to running over, and the only reason I was mostly to 64 gigs on the 10R is because I had 128. So why would I manage my storage at all? Why would I not put all my Apple lossless music onto it? I have all the room in the world. With this, not so much. But the compromises I have to make to get more room on here are not that bad, so therefore that's why I'm okay with it. And I can just say it's super nice to have the stainless steel phone again, because this thing feels like a hefty chunk of a phone, and I really miss having that. And so far, the battery life has actually been pretty good. I thought I would hate it coming from the 10R, but it's been decent. Like, it's worse, obviously, but not bad enough to where I'm like, oh god, I regret this. So, pretty much all this worked out in our favor. My 10R ended up actually covering both of our down payments and then some, so that worked out much, much better than I thought it would. And we both got new phones, kind of. I side graded, she got the hugest upgrade that out of all of us. Going from an SE, which is 4 years old, up to something that, you know, is less than a year old. So, yeah, that was pretty much what ended up going down, and hopefully this phone will continue to be awesome. I have plans to pay this off before the year's up, just accelerating payments into this phone because I want it unlocked, even though my iPad's already unlocked and I don't have to really worry about, having a device for coverage if I need to. But I prefer my devices unlocked and without, financial obligation to any carrier. So pretty much my plan, I'm going to sink any extra money I have over the next year into this guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this kind of ramble, and I will see you guys later.